me
do
get into
that.
that. I gotta ask you, man. Now that I know, I figure I have a more better idea. September Mondays. How'd you come up with that
Yeah.
Instagram handle?
That's my born day. So I was
Okay.
born on a Monday in September, and this year coming up is actually gonna be a September Monday on my birthday. Usually it
Yeah.
comes around once every 4 years, and that's what happened. I was like, I called up my mom, like, yo, what day was I born again? She was like, on a Monday in September. I'm like, damn, there we go. That's the
There you
name. Simple
go.
as that. Took me
That's
5 minutes. I
there
feel like
you.
a lot of yeah, I feel like a lot of people put too much pressure on the brand in the early stages.
Yeah.
No, just go all in and go as fast as you can, and then let the brand speak for the logo, not the logo speak for the brand.
And we should be official. Should be official with the guy, the
Oh,
man, the
oh,
myth. September Mondays. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for,
Man,
I know you're busy. Thanks for, carving out time, what I mean, for your boy. I appreciate it. I appreciate you, you coming on. Let me
we
go
were way
on.
overdue. We were way overdue. Let's put it that way.
Exactly. No, for sure, for sure. I'm about
Man,
to go ahead and share it so we can get this watch party going, so people can get this insight from you, um, and then we can get it going. Let
cool.
me
I'm
share this real
here. I'm
quick.
here
I had a
for it.
guy, uh, my guy in Missouri actually, and actually it's funny. I had a couple guys from Missouri, but he was from the Kansas City side.
Mm,
Because I don't know if you know, so there's Kansas City, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri. He was on the
hmm.
Kansas City, Missouri side. He's like, yo, that's more urban, more swag. Then I had my guy from the Kansas City, Kansas side, and of course he was like, yo, the Kansas City, Kansas side is the better of the two. But so I don't know. I got fam from the Kansas City. I don't even know which side, but yeah. So it's
I think
always
I know
interesting.
exactly who you're talking about too, because there's only one person that I know that I kind of know of that's in Missouri, Kansas City area, and that's that Stephen G. cat. That's
Yeah,
the only
exactly.
one that I know
Yep,
of.
yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep.
So I already
Stephen
knew what
G.
was up. Bro, I scoured that location and I'm like, there is nobody else that even lives here. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I know exactly what you're talking about. He's got a whole vibe going on his account. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, nah, no,
Yeah.
we
Good
had a
stuff.
dope ass conversation, man. It's always fun. That's the one of the advantages I think of social media. Obviously, like you said, you have that reach, right? You have the exposure to people, and it makes everyone so much more available, but it makes the world smaller at the same time. You know what I mean? It
Mm.
kind of it like connects us and disconnects us at the same time, which I know you know. But let me not go into it too much. Let me actually pay some bills. So Brand Talk Live, obviously people know who I am. Most people know who you are. I will let you introduce yourself, but first I got to talk about Brand. You just launched that Club BU. You know what I mean? The Live Your Passion campaign is going live, and of course, like many people know, like I play chess, so there's a lot of shit coming on. I got an announcement coming for that, so stay tuned for that. But now that I got that out the way, September Mondays, man. How you doing? Let me say, okay,
Oh man.
Instagram expert, social media branding, influencer, ads. I mean, I could keep going, but I'll let you, talk about what you do and everything that don't know you.
Yeah, I appreciate the intro. This is it's been a long journey and it's still gonna be long, but that's the way to do it. So
Man, you ain't old enough to have
that's
a
pretty
for it to
much
be a
it.
long journey, man. It's you still, man. What you mean? What you talking about?
It's the Botox, man. It keeps me looking youthful. As long as
Hey,
hey,
we don't, we
hey,
don't crack. We don't, we
hey, we
don't.
don't
I'm
crack, dog.
telling you. I'm telling you.
Oh
I'm gonna go
man.
ahead and use this coronavirus as it's not counting this year. I'm doing the same thing for my birthday,
Oh
so I'm going
yeah.
for it. I'm staying this same age. You know what I mean? Probably the next 5, 10 at least,
I,
at
I said
least.
this. I said the same exact thing. This year doesn't count. My birthday is coming up on September 21st,
Okay.
and this year, nah, we're taking that year back. The government should do something like that too. Everybody just get a whole year off. This year doesn't count. Let's try to
Nah.
put this behind us. I mean, to
Yeah.
some degree, yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
So,
So
but
yeah,
I'm
man. So
I'm
okay.
loving
So
it, man. I'm
yeah.
loving
So
it.
introduce yourself. Let people know who you are, what you do,
Yeah,
all that, and then we'll get into it.
you already know. So I'm September Mondays. My real name is Christopher Chin, and I'm a social media marketer, fashion guru, Instagram expert, brander, but most importantly, I'm definitely a branding person. So that's
Yeah.
like my number one stick. So as of right now, I run a digital agency called Polished Agency,
For sure.
and we basically like not that many businesses can afford to be on every single social media platform. So what we've done is we figured out that all of them work. You just have to be able to go all in on one platform to get
Yeah.
the best return on investment. So what
Mm-hmm.
we do at Polish Agency, we're strictly focused on Instagram, and we help brand individuals and companies and things like that through Instagram. We do like a few other platforms for other clients too, depending on their needs. And so we do LinkedIn stuff, Facebook, Pinterest, whatever you name it. But the main focus is on Instagram. So you
Got
ever heard of that pizza place, Rovente Pizzeria? They've got like a couple
I
of chains
have.
in Portland.
Yeah.
That's all my team that runs their social media channels. And
Gotcha.
so that's an example client that we basically do. And
No,
so,
that's lovely. So
yeah,
before we
I
even
do
get into
that.
that, I gotta ask you, man. Now that I know, I figure I have a more better idea. September Mondays. How'd you come up with that
Yeah.
Instagram handle?
Oh, that's my born day. So I was
Okay.
born on a Monday in September. And this year coming up is actually going to be a September Monday on my birthday. Usually it
Yeah.
comes around once every 4 years. And that's what happened. I was like, I called up my mom, like, yo, what day was I born again? She was like, on a Monday in September. I'm like, damn, there we go. That's the
There you
name.
go.
Simple as that. Took me
That's
5 minutes. I feel
there
like
you.
a lot of, yeah, I feel like a lot of people put too much pressure on the brand in the early stages.
Yeah.
No, just go all in and go as fast as you can, and then let the brand speak for the logo, not the logo speak for the brand.
Man,
And
let's
so,
stay there for a second because I feel
yeah,
like people and I'm gonna have to cut that and chop it, and that's gonna be a you know what I mean a clip. But people try to they waste so much time trying to be perfect, right?
hmm
Um, talk about speed and going all in because so many people. I tell people all the time I like give presentation. I'm like, look, let's be real. When you're first starting out, ain't nobody following you but your friends and family anyway. So they're gonna like your shit
yeah,
regardless.
exactly.
Ain't nobody else seeing you, right? So you might as well get started. And the thing is, you learn so much more from doing, as opposed to waiting, deliberating. You know what I mean? Procrastinating. Oh, I got to make sure it's this,
hmm
this, this, and this. And I know from experience, I'm sure you can testify to this as well. Even as much as I like to be prepared, there's just shit you don't know until you go through the fire, right? Like there's just
Oh,
things you
yo,
cannot prepare
100.
for, and you have to actually experience to even know. That's something you wouldn't even think about, right? You aren't even fathoming that that's an aspect that you need to learn. So talk about speed and just start,
hmm
because I feel like some people are just handicapped with trying to be perfect, and they aren't gonna be perfect ever, but they still ain't gonna be perfect at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, that's the game right there. The more punches that you can take, the longer you're gonna last, and the better it's gonna be in the long term. I, for at least for me personally, I give everything a 6 month threshold. Whenever
Gotcha.
I'm doing something, if I'm gonna start up a new project or business or idea or whatever the case is, it has 6 months for it to look promising. If it doesn't look promising after 6 months, I'm out, and then I move on to the next thing. Fortunately, I mean, I'll cut right back to the beginning though.
Yeah.
A lot of, we get so hung up on like the look of the brand or like the feel of the brand or just certain aspects where everyone is like, oh, I want something to be proud of.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, that's great. Like, you need something to be proud of, and brand does like induce those feelings in you. But
Hmm.
it's important, like early on, where so many people like spend so much money on a logo. They'll spend like tens of thousands of dollars on a logo. And I'm like, you just need to be able to get something that's clean, matches the industry, and that has like some part of your aesthetic to it. And then you
Yeah.
can just go from there. Because a lot of people think the logo and the brand voice is the entire brand. I'm like, no, there's also like the factor of you got to be consistent. You have to deliver every single time at a certain time for it to be like a successful brand. That's why like
Yeah.
Japanese cars always have a good reputation.
Yeah.
It's not about the logo or the the words that they put in place. It's about their consistency. They deliver.
The
They're true
systems
to
that
their
can. Yeah.
brand. They last a
Yeah.
long time, and they definitely don't lie about that part. So I feel
Yeah.
like
Nah.
everybody
Yeah.
gets hung
People
up in the
spend.
beginning. It's like you just gotta
You just
go,
gotta go.
go through
Some
the
people,
fire.
and whether
Yeah.
it's the logo or it's their caption or their whatever, it's like, yo, man, you just gotta get started.
hmm That's
Talk about
exactly it.
you talked about earlier, man. It's been a minute. You know, I definitely one of the reasons I started this in general, besides the fact that I just like to talk and interview people, is I want to give a transparent look at what it's really like with it. See some people that they can relate to, that they look at as being successful, right? And actually let them know what the grind really is. Because I feel like so many people now in the environment we're in, they want to be successful overnight, right?
Oh yeah, that
And
that shit
and
is.
and because they want to be successful overnight, they actually set themselves up for failure because they're so disappointed when they don't see the results overnight, right? So
Mhm.
talk about how long you've been doing this, just to give them an idea of, hey, you didn't just become, September Mondays. I mean, you can't be you always been September Mondays, but you know what I mean. As they know you, as they see you now, what was that journey like?
Yeah, that's the other thing. I like to compare it a lot to like, and it doesn't matter where you are in your life or what's happening. Like, everyone has the ability to create something for the long term now, especially that we have this whole thing called the internet. And
Hmm.
so like the overnight situation, it's just all a mindset. But like for me, this all started when I was in, and this was like probably 20 years ago, where
Okay.
I used to like play trading card games, and I used to nerd out on some real like Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, like that
Okay.
kind of stuff, and go out
Yeah.
to all these card shops and things like that. One day I was playing with this like set of cards, and me and a few buddies, and they weren't even buddies. There were some grown ass men playing this game when I was like 10, 11, and
Okay.
I was living in Florida at the time, and we
Okay.
drove all the way from Fort Lauderdale to Orlando to attend this tournament.
Gotcha.
And in that tournament, the set of cards that I was using ended up, at that time, it was all like forums and different like, and Yahoo Messenger, AIM, and MSN. Like, you remember all that stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
But like the set of cards that I was using, I ended up placing top 8 in this big Yu-Gi-Oh tournament that had like this magazine attached to it. And then my
Okay.
deck went viral online in these forums. And then so that became the meta for what everybody started to use in Yu-Gi-Oh. And so like whenever I'd go to these tournaments, people were like, yo, you're so and so from, you're like Justice Pimp or whatever. And that was like my handle on the forums. And so
So
oh
yeah,
my
one more
god,
time, people that didn't hear. What was
bro,
your handle?
it was Justice Pimp. Come
Okay.
on, yeah, you know how it is. You're a gamer, you're whatever. You just come up
Yo,
with these random
if you
names.
look at
So that's
early,
exactly what happened,
2000 to mid 2000 screen
man.
names, and there was all kind of crazy shit.
Oh,
So
Hot
yeah,
Girl
that's
25,
funny.
Hot Boy 100.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah. So my deck went viral online,
okay,
and then on the forums, everyone would like contact me and like try to hit me up for advice, and they would come to our card shop to like play our team and all
gotcha.
sorts of stuff. And then I translated over to MySpace, and then my MySpace account pretty much had like this big audience because of that happening. And so all
Uh-huh.
these other trading card, these other gamers, these other like anime people would just friend request me on MySpace, and so that account blew up. And so I've always been kind of in the social media landscape of just
Gotcha.
making accounts grow and things like
Yeah,
that. And that was like 20, that was like 18 to 20 years ago when all that stuff started to happen.
yeah,
And it feels so recent too. That's how like quick some of this stuff has evolved. But like
definitely.
that, fast forward after that, grew up, ended up going to USF in Tampa, Florida,
Hmm.
and I basically just went there to just have fun and try some different things. And I ended up becoming an intern at one of the campuses there, and I was just messing around on social media and stuff like that. So that kind of like fast forwarded my journey a little bit more. But then once I graduated, I got fired from my first job in like a week, and I was like, all right, well, clearly that didn't work out. I thought
Yeah,
everything was going all good, but we just
yeah,
didn't line up, and I just
gotcha.
wasn't gonna let anyone talk to me like that. And
Yeah,
so I called my mom and I was like, I know you're not financially like stable. However, 3 months, I'm moving in, no rent. Here's a contract. I mean, son to
yeah,
mom contracts, like whatever,
yeah.
and I'll figure something out. The day as I move back down to South Florida with my parents, and then as I'm rolling up a spliff, I was on Pinterest and I saw a downloadable resume template, and I'm like, oh, I can make one of these. It was like, you've seen those like Shopify themes, WordPress
Yeah,
themes, and
exactly.
all
Yeah,
sorts of stuff that you could buy. I
yeah,
figured out that you could sell those same exact templates on Etsy, and at the time, no one was doing it because they were doing it all on like these websites, Creative Market or Unvato or whatever those websites are called.
yeah.
I did them on Etsy. No one was doing them. I made one store that was all downloadable resume templates. I
Uh-huh.
replicated it 20 times, included like an FAQ and a guide and everything. So it was like fully automated. And that
Yeah.
was my first business. And so
And
people
so
would download these resume
give context.
templates.
When is this? When is this? What
That,
timeline is this?
that was in 2015.
Okay.
And so, yeah, as soon as like 2015 came around, I started to fiddle around. That was like my first digital marketing business, so to speak.
Got you.
And with digital files, the inventory is unlimited. So you could just
Yeah.
imagine that it just kept going and going
Yeah.
and going. And then after a couple of months, I was like, all right, just pack my bags and move to Portland, Oregon. I had nothing better to do.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can live anywhere, I can do anything. And so
Why
I was like, where
Portland,
am I?
man? That's always interesting to me. Why Portland and all the places from Florida? Have you been here prior, or what was like? Okay, I'm gonna just go to Portland, Oregon.
No, I visited here once in
Okay.
2014, but it's like a quick, like 5-day trip. At the time, I had a buddy that was working for Spirit Airlines, and he
Okay.
would just give me all these free buddy passes and stuff like that. So I would just fly around the U.S. just because like I had a good friend that was working for Spirit, and
Yeah, man, I had an
yeah, fast
ex that
forward,
used to work for an airline. That was the
the
best. That was
best.
the best.
Hmm.
Yeah, that and an ex. You know me, I like fashion. I had an ex that worked at Nordstrom's, and she was a, Nordstrom's employee. She was one of those like the managers or the whatever, the top sale people. So I had like 33 or 40%,
Hmm.
whatever it was. Man, I miss those days.
living living the
Man,
life.
I don't miss the
Living.
relationship, but I miss that discount.
Oh
Um,
yeah, relationships. Yeah, far out of that. But
yeah.
I know exactly what you mean.
Exactly. So what I
So
want to talk
yeah,
about
honest.
is you
Yeah, go
mentioned it.
ahead.
You've been in the game for a minute, which is amazing. Obviously, you transitioned from MySpace to selling digital resumes on Etsy, and now you do Instagram and expertise, and you say you dabble with some of the other platforms as well.
Hmm.
Talk about though, because now I have a question later on. But talk about now. You have Instagram Reels just came out. Obviously, you have TikTok that's relatively newer, but we'll see what's going to happen with it. Talk about how the experience you had from the playing card days, MySpace to Etsy, how that experience has helped you and how you created your brand and built your brand now.
Oh,
Because I think a lot of
100%.
people get caught up in, I don't want to try this because it's new. I don't want to try this or whatever, because they don't think, it's not a lot of traffic or it's not successful. And you already alluded to earlier, like any platform will work if you know how to
Hmm.
work the platform, right? Like anyone will work. Like you can be amazing in Pinterest, you can be amazing on Twitter, you can be amazing on Instagram, Facebook. I mean, obviously, depending on your target demographic, it may vary on which one you should be in, but you can become an expert on any of the platforms and it will be monetarily beneficial. So talk
Hmm.
about how leaning into one or how those like helped you transition to what you're doing today.
Yeah, I think for me it was all about I've al- some I'm a one trick pony, and so
Gotcha.
I say that with pride, as in
Yeah.
like you just have to find the platform that works for you
Yeah.
at that point in time. So if you're better communicating in video, then YouTube is going to be your best bet. Instagram Reels is going to be something. IGTV is definitely another like one. I think the main starting point though to make anything monetizable is knowing yourself first.
Yeah.
That in itself, like you got to understand yourself fully through thick and thin, inside and out, and you need to know where your strengths are. And so that I feel as if should be accomplished before you decide to make the journey of running a business, or you're in the process of running a business and you figure it out like, oh, well, I'm a great writer, then
Yeah.
SEO has to be my stick. And then so you need to like be able to pump out good blog content and high quality content there. Or if you're if you look great in photos, then photos should be your thing.
Yeah,
Like
if you can do this,
we
you
don't
can
do
do
it.
that. If you can do
Oh,
this,
yo, let's go. I'm
if
so
you
for
can,
it.
if
That I'm
you
gonna
can,
cut into a clip. Oh my god.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I got you. I got you.
oh man. I love it. But like, yeah, things like that. It all starts with knowing yourself and knowing your strengths and knowing your weaknesses. Like for example, we suck at video. I think we're not that good at video, in my honest opinion. Other people
Yeah,
say we're good, but I think that we're way better at photos than we are in video. So we stick to photos. If
got
we're
you.
gonna do video, I keep it simple and it's just me sitting down in like one area, kind of like how we're doing, and I'm
Yeah,
just, But as far as like storytelling with
yeah,
making like cinematic or whatever it's called
yeah,
videos, we're decent, but we're not great. So
yeah,
I tend to not do that type of
yeah.
stuff. So it all boils down with knowing yourself, most importantly. If you're a great writer, you need to be blogging. Simple as that.
Man, say
If you're
that because
like,
I tell
it's
people,
that simple,
yeah, I tell people,
honestly.
and because I feel what happens is, as Portland in general, but overall, people we're late adopters, right? Which actually this goes into where we've been talking about, like just lean in, just start, right? But a lot of people, they're late adopters, and so they want to jump in, and they're like, okay, what's the fastest, quickest, best hitting thing I can do? Oh, I want to do Instagram Reels. Oh, I'm going to do TikTok. And
Hmm.
they do these damn videos where they do the dances, and most of them can't dance. And I've said this numerous times. Just because you can do a dance that's like a step, a sequence, doesn't mean you can dance. There's still you can tell the difference.
100%.
You can tell the difference. But my point is, do whatever you're good at, right? If you're right, like what you said, right? If you have a great voice, do a podcast. If you're great on
Hmm.
camera, talk, whatever. You know what I mean? But figure out what you are good at and what you like, because what I'll lead into next, you need to have so much damn content so you can stay top of mind. So you got
Hmm.
to do something that you actually enjoy, right? So it's that combination. What am I good at? What do I enjoy? So I can do it enough to actually penetrate the marketplace.
Oh, 100%. If you're older, like for sure, you probably know your strengths by now, and
Yep.
it's easier for you to make something happen a lot faster because you know what you're good at. But it's key to stick to what you're good at when you've already figured it out. Now, if you're just like you're 18 or if you're like 20 and you're just like figuring it out, then you have to taste so many different things and to find that thing that works for you. And then there's going to be a moment in time where you're going to go all in. Like there's always that switch that goes from a C player to an A player, and then you'll know when you're on. However, like I said, if you're already there and you've already figured out your strengths, then you need to double down on that because that's what's going to take you even further. And you already built the experience up, so it's important to like make sure that you have your strengths. The other thing too is though is like I'm never afraid to go back to zero. Never.
Gotcha.
Like
So explain that.
I built
Explain
my
that.
yeah. So by like going back to zero is I started my business all cash, no rich uncle, no loan, no nothing, no credit, all cash out of my own pocket, and I'm still funding that to this day.
Yeah.
And so
Same with me.
that's
So I feel
yeah.
you.
But it's such a good way to start it because you know all the intricacies within the business. And so like whenever it goes back to zero, I'm never worried about like losing money or spending money on the wrong place because I already know that since the skill set is there, I can make anything blow up at this
Mm.
point. I'm not even
Yeah.
worried about it. It doesn't matter. Once you run one, you can run them all. You just need to
Yeah.
know what you're good at and all your strengths. And so that's the other thing where I think a lot of us, as we get older, we have that fear that comes into us where we're just afraid to go back to what brought us there in the first place. And it's not like you're never going to end up going back there. It's the fact that it's in your psyche that it needs to like be out of your mindset in order for
Mm.
you to like to give something a chance in, instead of just trying one thing for a month and saying it didn't work. That's not how it works. You have to, the fact that I'm never afraid to go back to zero
Mm.
allows me to try different products and allows me to launch different things. And I have an idea going into it. Like this is going to take a year before I see a return on investment. So
Got
I'm
you.
never like
Exactly.
worried about that. I'm all about the slow build. And the
Yeah.
last thing that I want to do is like ruin my reputation. And
Yeah.
so yeah, so that's the other thing where it's like everyone's like in this rush, whereas I know like for a fact everything is gonna compound over time. Doesn't even
Exactly.
matter, and there's more people living. There's more things to choose from. Like you're never gonna go back to zero. So I
Yeah.
think a lot of people have that fear of thinking that they might lose it all if they try something new for a long amount of time, and it's like no, that's not true. That's what's going on with this whole with COVID and Corona and things like that right now. It's now if your business right now, you never had an interest in doing it, you were just simply doing it for the money, then now is the perfect time to go do that thing you love. Or
Exactly.
if you're letting your business if you're letting your business like slow down a little bit or you're getting ready to go out of business, it's not the business's fault and the environment's fault. It's your fault. You're letting it go out of business. So you need to be able to like adapt to what's going on and or it just wasn't the right thing for you, right?
Exactly.
You just got caught up into doing it because your parents handed it to you or because it was the right timing for the market
Yeah.
or things like that. And so that's where I think where a lot of like us as we're getting older is to realize that, hey, you're never going to go back to zero. So get that out of your psyche and then try just continuously double down on what you're already good at. So
Yeah, man, I can take that so
that's
many
my
different.
whole take on it.
Yeah, I can take that so many different ways. I mean, like for me, like obviously this sucks, right? Let's be real. Like the
Oh
conditions,
yeah.
whatever. At the same time, um, you know, everyone can kind of ride the wave. You know what I mean? In a good economy, in a good market. And I feel
Mhm.
like what COVID has done, it's expedited the process. People that were stagnant in what they were doing and didn't want to adapt and didn't want to move. And so they're either being forced to a lot quicker or they're just going to fall by the wayside. And the people that can adapt, that can pivot, that are good at what they do, they're in the correct space. Like you said, they're going to still be successful. And that's just literally that's just
That's
what it
just
is.
life.
Exactly. And the other thing you
Yeah.
talked about, whereas like once you know what you're good at, like you said, you gain on that experience. So like for me, I have in my phone right now, bro. Because when I
Oh,
started,
you
so when
have
I
a
started,
Rolodex of
I
everyone. Like, yeah, you're
no, but not
this
even
is what you do.
I mean, yeah, but I have like 300 ideas of different either marketing campaigns, business strategies, and it's just like I was just waiting for the right time to drop it. Like everything for me is like chess. And so the
Hmm.
thing is like I have all these different ideas, and like you said, I can start it at any time. And I know based upon what I've done and the experience I've gained and the muscle I've built within the space that it's gonna work. I just need to, figure it out. and I just have so much confidence I'm going to figure it out that it's like, I don't care to fail. You know what I mean? I don't even look at it as a failure. Like, I don't even think failure is impossible, right? I don't look, because I don't look, my opinion on my perspective on failing is different than probably most people. But at the same time, I'm like, yo, there's no way. Like, it's going to work. I might need to pivot and maneuver it and do it in a different way or drop it maybe a few months later, but it's going to work. It's just a matter of me working it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Oh yeah. And even then, like, oh, nobody really fails. You just learn.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it is. Everyone's like, oh, I'm gonna have this L. It's like, no, you won't have an L. And besides, who cares? That's your L. It's nobody else's loss. I remember Gary Vee was saying something like that, where I'm like, any L that I have, it's on me. I don't necessarily care if someone's thinking that, oh, this person had an L. Well, we shouldn't, like all that stuff is not even, I feel as if we still get caught up into thinking about what other people think of us sometimes. And that in itself hinders us from running high performance machines or becoming a high performing person. That's like one of the biggest aspects. And, even with COVID, it's like, it's expedited that as well too, where if you do a cough, someone's going to think something about you. And so now you're in your head and like, maybe they should, maybe they shouldn't. I mean, who knows? So,
man, you know what?
But like, it is what it is.
It is what it is. I don't care what people think. And at the end of the day, they don't care about you as much as you think they care about you. That's also the situation. The people that really care about you in that scenario, people you really don't care about. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to do business with those people anyway. At the same time, shit, bro, let's be real. I'd rather take 8 L's. This is what's similar with Gary Vee. I'd rather take 8 L's and win 3 or 4 times than try twice and maybe 1.5 times. Because in those 8 times that I've lost, I figured out something better. And then the things I won on is going to win that much larger. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, let me take those L's. Let me get out the way. Let me get out the way.
One proper win will just change your entire life. That's all people, like literally that is it. I would rather hold 30 L's. I just need that one win and it's over.
It only take one time. So I got to give, because you are the Instagram expert, like you said, that's really the area. You can do it all, but that's really the area you're in. Talk about that. I cannot not have you on and not give people game about how to scale Instagram, what they should be doing, what they shouldn't be doing. I know you do trainings on it. So just give like maybe your 2 or 3 jewels of like, okay, this is what really matters. This is what you should focus on. You've already gave plenty as far as staying your skill set, as far as staying your talent for how you create. But let them know, man, from your mouth to God's ear. Let them know what they should be doing on Instagram.
You already know. I mean, it all depends on like what your goals are in life and like where you want to be at. Clearly, the main goal for most of us is to be able to like generate leads for our business and to get that traffic and to turn an opportunity into like a paying opportunity or something. And so one of the things that like I like to do, and like we set this up for clients as well too, where it helps out with growth and it helps out with just starting that initial conversation and then letting the client take it from there or whatever the case is. But I like to set up systems. And so a nice growth hack on Instagram is to just set up a system where you're DMing people once a day where it's like, hey, hope you're having a great day. Carry on. Cheers or whatever. Yeah. That in itself, finessing the DMs, not that many people, everybody's going into the
finessing the DMs all the time. That's a hashtag. That's a hashtag. Finessing the DMs. That could be taken a whole bunch of different ways. That could be a t-shirt. That's like, so yeah.
Finesse those DMs. We set up like what I do is like we set up virtual assistants, and so their job, because you can't like automate things on Instagram. You can't do automatic commenting, liking, because you get your account blocked or banned or whatever. But you can hire someone to do all that stuff for you. And so we have employees in-house and VAs overseas that would like their specific job is to engage with people. So they'll find someone by like their location. And like, for example, if you're a Vente Pizzeria and you used one of the locations, that account, our employee is going to find you from using that location and send you a DM, hope you're having a great day. And then when you hear it from like a brand that you've already bought from, you're like, oh my God, then you become that much more valuable they become that much more valuable as a customer, because now their LTV, now their lifetime value is like, they're going to buy from you again and again. Yeah. Just by like one DM. And so we set up systems like that to continuously DM people when they use a specific location or a hashtag or whatever the case is. The other thing too is, turning on post notifications is a jewel in itself. And if you have like, let's say you're a hairstylist or you're a real estate agent or whatever the case is, your current fan base, if they're like, if they've bought from you previously, turn on their post notifications, and whenever they post, you are consistently liking and commenting on their photo. And so that in itself, you're top of mind now. So
Yeah.
now that person that you just did that to, they're going to talk about you in everyday, normal, casual conversation, and you're going to pick up like 2 to 3 like new customers or clients just from that happening. And
Yeah.
so it's all about like engaging and being authentic with it, and like making sure that like you're like Instagram works like this. Your initial reaction can't be to sell. Your initial reaction should be able to build brand and social equity. That's the
Exactly.
number one thing. That's what separates Instagram from everything else. Some people are like, you need fancy content and things like that. No, you just need to be authentic and
Hmm.
follow up with the people that are the right people for you to follow up with.
Exactly.
So that's like the number
And
one
that's
thing.
something
Because
you can do
whenever
proactively, like you
100%.
said.
Whenever
Yeah.
we're
And like,
whenever we're hunting down clients or potential clients, oh, as soon as they get into the funnel of a free consultation, bang, we turn on their notifications, and whenever they do something, we're top of mind. And so like they don't
yeah.
forget about us. And then we send a follow-up email, like, we schedule a second phone call or whatever the case is. But we're always top of mind. And I always do that when I'm hunting people.
Yeah.
Everyone like thinks my account, like, it looks good on the outside, but in the DMs, I'm constantly DMing people trying to get.
Constantly finessing.
I'm constantly finessing them. Oh my god, like everything. I do everything through the DMs.
Yeah.
So
No, and that's the thing. You
yeah,
ask
talking
so
to
many
people,
different
setting
people, and
stuff
the thing
up.
is that that's such a great idea because, like you said, then you're saying top of mind, and you're bringing value, right? They're gonna be like, "Oh
Mm-hmm.
shit, September Mondays is liking my shit. He's commenting. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's staying abreast of what I have going on, et cetera, et cetera." What you said reminded me of something I just saw on a vlog. A real estate agent, Ryan Serhant, and
Oh
he
yeah,
had this
yeah,
blog
that
like
guy.
the 3-5 rule, and he was like, "Yo, you take 3 groups of people, 3 groups of 5 people. It can be whatever, and you reach out to them every day, right? Just to not to
Mm-hmm.
sell, just to maintain the relationship, right? Whether it's a Instagram DM, a LinkedIn message, email, a call, old school letter, whatever. Just to say hi to people, especially now, and just to be like,
Oh
yo,
my God.
hope you're doing well. Stay safe, stay healthy. You're in my thoughts, or I've seen you doing well. Congratulations, whatever, whatever. Like just that on a genuine, I'm thinking about you type, people are like, oh shit, like, oh, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? And then that gives them automatically, he's talking about brand equity, that gives them automatically like that warm and fuzzy feeling about who you are. You know what I mean? And then they're more apt to be like, oh, yeah, I just talked to Brandon. I just talked to Monday. Oh, da 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 da. Yeah, that's who you need to talk to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Oh, and life is
even
short
doing
too.
that, I don't even do it. Like, I literally am like, yo, how are you doing? Like, literally just whatever. How are you doing? Glad. And I shouldn't be saying this now because they'll be like, oh, that's why he's going to hit me up. But genuinely, I'm like, oh,
No, but
how
like
are you
that's the
doing?
truth.
Whatever, right? And then like I've got people
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, okay, we need to talk about something. Oh, you know what I mean? Oh, yeah, I need to sign up. You know what I mean? Literally, just from saying hi. Because
Mm-hmm.
I think too, people are so busy when people take time out to actually like acknowledge people, it hits
Mm-hmm.
so much more. We talked about earlier, like we're disconnected. So when you actually make an attempt to genuinely connect, it makes it that much more impactful for sure.
Oh yeah,
When,
life is short too. We're seeing that right now. So
oh
like
man, yeah,
you have to set aside time just to make sure everybody's all good. So
exactly.
it's like as you get older, that's a part of life, right?
Yeah, no,
But
for sure.
yeah.
When did you decide to become an influencer? And I mean that because obviously you have the agency, right? The people that have agencies that don't do like ads and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
When did you decide to do that, and how did you get into it? I know people that want to be influencers, and you actually do it on a consistent basis. Talk about like give the roadmap for that, how you got into it, and now like what does that look like for you? What is the life like of an influencer,
Yeah,
of a legit influencer?
yeah. Oh yeah, there's so many yeah, there's a lot going on. I think
There's a lot. There's a
every
lot.
industry has like a group
I
of
like
people
I
that
like
are
to
in
toe
it
that
for the
line
moment.
between
Mhm.
talking greasy and just being inspirational. So
Mhm.
there's a lot. But let's just talk about real influencers. How what's
Yeah,
it like?
man, this all honestly from before this all even started. I one day I went on a Tinder date and they're like, "Hey, do you want to be the subject of like my photography thing?" And this was when I was like 23, when I first moved here to Portland, and I was like, "Sure, I'll be the subject of your photos." Like in my
Did
mind,
your
I was
date
like,
ask you this?
"Yeah, yeah." And I was like, "Yo, right?" And I was like, "What do I look like being in front of a camera?" That's exactly what I was like thinking to myself, because I was never that type of person to be in front of a camera or to like
Yeah.
do anything like that. I've always been like working behind the scenes. Like I've always been that person.
Yeah.
We went to Cannon Beach just to like take some photos. And then I'm like, all right, cool. One of the photos, I ended up posting it on my Instagram feed, and I haven't posted in like years from that time on my personal account. I
Gotcha.
posted it. This Canadian men's fashion company found it, and they ended up resharing my photo like 5 times that entire summer. So I was getting all these Canadian followers coming into the account like that entire summer. And after about a month, I was like, all right, something's happening here. Pump the brakes, stop everything, fired
Yeah.
her, went out, hired a real photographer. And then, I mean, because I saw there was potential into the thing. And so I was like, all
Yeah.
right, well, let's, don't get me started on that. So what I did was, that's how I met my current photographer right now, Brandon. And me
Okay.
and him have been doing this we've been doing it for years now. And so what we did was when we went on our first photo shoot, it just kind of like snowballed from there. But I saw there was opportunity because all these Canadians started following the account.
Yeah.
So when Brandon and I first started, we first met up at the Pie Spot right on Sandy and like 21st or something.
Yeah.
Had a conversation. I told him exactly like, hey, this is new to me. I've already built businesses before. Do you trust me? Let's work out a deal because I can scale this. Are you in or are you out? This is our
Yeah.
first conversation. Made it super clear on what we wanted to do, and this is the rate. This is what we're doing, and then we just went all in. And so what I did was, and music producers do the same exact thing, where we built a whole catalog and a library of photos before we even relaunched September Monday. So we were going on photo shoots like 4 to 5 times a week.
Yeah.
Building a library with outfits and just like photos and everything. And like the investment, I mean, there was still like an investment up front because I had to like buy new clothing at that point.
Yeah.
But we ended up building a library of like 1,000 photos before we even relaunched my personal Instagram account.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I went back after I saw those Canadians following the account. I'm like, yo, this needs strategy and this needs like tactics and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I know where this is headed.
Yeah.
So once we did that, I just had like photos to always work with. And so I picked a time, date that I wanted to post. Obviously, it had to be on Mondays, and so I was always like posting on that day.
Yeah.
And then the fan base started to slowly just accumulate even more. Other brands started resharing my photos, and it just kept on growing. And then once it hit 10,000 after about a year and a half, we got our first paid gig, and then it was it. I did everything for free for an entire year and a half. Everything was for free. There wasn't any sponsored posts. There wasn't any, brands would send things in the mail, but we were just doing it for trade of photos and things like that. But then, like, once we got our first paying gig, it was a wrap. We went all in. But like my situation was I had enough runway from a previous business that I could do whatever I want. So my runway was a little bit different at that point with the upfront investment. But it's key for somebody who wants to become an influencer. You need to find a friend or someone who's a good photographer and make a deal from the beginning. Like, I'm the talent, you're everything that I can't be. It's the same exact thing between music producer and artist. It's the same relationship. It's the same relationship with like real estate agent and the person who handles like all the loans and everything, like loan officer. It's the same thing. So you need that person that you can trust and make sure the deal is, great for everyone and everyone's going to eat from it, so to speak. And so that's like the number one thing. And like as a beginner influencer, it's better if you find a friend too, so that way you can just hit each other up and say, hey, do you want to go on a photo shoot this time, and just make sure you're consistent with it. I think where a lot of artists and influencers and people in the creative like scene go a little sideways is they're not thinking about the consistency and the systems behind it. Like, sure, you can produce great art, but like you need to have a system behind it. That's a part of the artwork in itself. And so,
because it's art and science. Like GV's always says, it's art and science. And for me, it's funny, when I was an image consultant before I transitioned, it was like I had a business background. So yeah, I understand creative in it, but I understood systems. I had a business acumen to lean on. You know what I mean? So it wasn't just, oh, I'm just whatever. It's like, okay, no, I'm doing this for a reason. I go back to my list. I have a list, a whole bunch of, like, it's always chess. Like, it's always strategic. There's always a method behind the madness. There's always a system in place and how I can do that. And then what people don't realize is too, is when you actually systematize what you're doing, it actually opens up even more opportunity within the art, because then you don't have to worry about all the stuff. All the necessary stuff is taken care of. Now I can just create. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I think some people don't realize that. Talk about how long you did it for free though, too, because people again, the overnight success. You know what I mean? People that have less followers than you, or less than 10,000 now. You know what I mean? That try to get paid gigs. And you say you did it for free. Talk about that timeline and then how you scaled your pricing. Because I think that's the other big thing with influencers. They don't know how much to charge, when they should charge. I know for me, it was kind of like similar. Like when I started doing talks or presentations, it was like, okay, I know what my value, I know what I think my value is, but the marketplace really tells me what your value is, right? So at that time,
Oh, 100%.
I was unable to secure the bag, if you will, for presenting because no one knew what I could do, right? So I had to do it for free. Like my first presentation was at I think Clackamas Community College in Oregon City on branding, and I probably had 8 people in the room, maybe 8, and one was my assistant at the time. So like literally, and I did it, and then I got paid. And then once I got paid, that was now
Oh,
the
it's on.
foundation. Like that was the floor. Like, okay, I secured this. Now you're gonna pay me this. If it's something, whatever, if it's a major opportunity, I can still negotiate. You know what I mean? I can pick what I want to get paid, but that's the floor for just basic shit. And then I just scaled up from there. How long did you do it for free? And then how'd you scale up your pricing? Because I'm sure what you're charging now is more than what you charged when you started getting paid.
Yeah, I did it the same exact way that you did it. Just you got to go in for free for the first year and a half. I just did it for free because like I knew intuitively that the bigger that we get, the more that I'll be able to charge. And so I was always going by like, all right, we're at 10,000 followers, then we could charge like $500 for an Instagram post. And then if we get to 20,000, we should be charging $1,000, and then 30,000, $2,000, and so on. That's how I originally was looking at it.
Gotcha.
But then the marketplace was telling me it's like, yeah, you're not worth all of that. And so the marketplace was, oh my God.
The marketplace is not a liar. The marketplace is the truth. At the end of the day, the marketplace is the truth.
That is it. There's always somebody who's going to be like younger, faster, smarter, and they're going to do it for cheaper. Always. I've realized that. I just realized that early on. I'm like, all right, well, this is the case. But like now I knew how much I was worth after that, like that first paying gig. So from like 0 to 10,000, it was all about just building brand equity, not selling too much because like everybody wanted to be associated with a very cool account, right? And to keep it cool, you're not selling as much. And so that's how I was able to grow. And then once we got our first paying gig, they sent the price over, which was like 250. And then at the time I was running the agency too. And so I'm like, it's not worth it because like I have so much other stuff going on with the agency that I can't like even accept that. So I was like, all right, let me just throw back the twice as that. Let's see what happens. And then they said yes. And so ever since that, I'm like, okay, well, that's how the influencer marketplace works now. So that became my base. That 500 at 10,000 became my base.
Gotcha.
And then I was like, all right, well, any other gig from there, anything that's like a larger brand, that's like Sony or like Nike or Puma or any of those bigger brands, there's more room for negotiation. So if they tell me like 250, 350, I'm willing to do that because they have what we want, which is their brand equity and being associated with them. Yeah. But then like smaller brands that would just charge our regular price. And it's like, all right, it has to be 500 because this is
because you aren't getting any like
now.
there's more than just a social capital, right? There's more than just the dollar amount. That's people to really realize too. Now to cut you off, it's like, yo, like I'm doing something for a major magazine publication. Although they have a larger budget, I can accept less because I know the brand alignment and the social equity and the social currency I'll receive will far outweigh getting another $200.
Yeah.
But if I'm working with, Joe and Don down the street, it's like, yo, I'm not gonna get nothing from this other than cash, right? So I have to maximize what I'm getting paid. Essentially, is what I hear you saying.
Yeah, or if you want the relationship to be long term too. And so some brands we started off with like, all right, we'll do it for free for the first one, and then it slowly builds. And so now we've worked with JCPenney for over 2 years, and that's like a relationship that started for free early on. And then it slowly scaled because we wanted that relationship. It was more about being associated with it. But I think a lot of influencers, where they go a little sideways is they get their first paying gig. They don't know what their rates are still after that. And then they're stuck to that rate. Now, the thing is like to get out of that, whenever someone else would come into our funnel and they would want to work with us, and if they're a smaller brand, we'll, say our base price. But if it was someone else that we knew had the budget, I would just say ballpark numbers. Like I said some ridiculous amounts before and it did work. And so I knew that couldn't be the base. And so you kind of have to like fiddle around with it. But I've said some ridiculous numbers before to certain brands and they're like, we're all in. And so that's what influencers need to do is like, if you're an influencer, you need to be able to have the gut to just be able to say some ballpark number and be willing to accept the no. That's
Yeah.
where most influencers go wrong, is they don't want to accept the no, and they want to work for all these brands and influence all that stuff when they haven't even tried it in the first place. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, you have to be able to accept the no from early on, because that's a part of your values too. Like, if you don't have that black square on your Instagram account and you didn't say anything about Black Lives Matter, we're not working with you. And I will let every other influencer know, like
Yeah.
100%. So that's like where I'm coming from. And like, you have to be able to accept that no, because I've said no so many times now. So
Yeah.
like, now we get to pick and choose our brands that we want to work with. Most influencers aren't willing to do that because they want the money, and it's never about the money. It's about like just knowing your worth and being able to accept no for an answer. So like,
Man, and
tell them
understanding,
a
like you said,
ballpark number, like
it
do
go
that.
it like you said earlier, it goes back to knowing yourself. I know for me, when I started, man, I lost money, whether it was as a stylist or whether it was because I didn't take gigs. And I was like, yo, our brand isn't the same. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going, like, I always say, like, use the example, like, I'm not going to step over dollars to get the pennies, right? And I was like, I'm
Yeah.
not going to take this amount or this whatever, because A, I get nothing from it. Our brand doesn't align. And honestly, for you, it's not going to be beneficial because the people that follow me expect a certain whatever. And so it just doesn't make sense. I mean, we could
But
talk
like,
forever. I gotta ask you a few
yeah,
questions. I know you gotta go too. I got
yeah,
this
let's
thing called
go.
branded behavior, and it's like a quick fire round, whatever. Some you can expand on, some is just either or.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking at your page, and so I got some questions for you. Uh,
Yeah.
so let me know what it is. So streetwear versus suited up. Which one?
Streetwear.
All right. Sneakers
Mm.
versus boots.
Oh, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. I'm becoming more of a sneaker person these days. I used to
Okay.
be all about boots, but sneakers now.
I literally am thinking. I've
For
been,
sure.
meditating, visualizing, whatever. I want to get a place where I have a loafer section and a sneaker section in my closet. Like, cause I'm all about. I never wear socks, or I wear the foot socks. But I need a loafer section because for me, it's all about adaptability too. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
I can dress up sneakers, I can dress up loafers, I can dress them down. If I had sneakers and loafers, I like boots too. But if I had those two, like just a section, I'd be solid.
Mm.
Let me know, what is your favorite brand right now? And unless I know you have brand alignment, but what is your favorite brand that you can say?
mm. When it comes to clothing,
Yes.
honestly, I mean, I'm a Nike person these days.
Okay.
However, I've always wanted to work with Puma, and
Okay.
so we finally secured a deal with them, and so that's been pretty interesting. But I gotta, I don't know, that I'm torn between, because like, my parents are Jamaican. I lived in Jamaica for a little bit. Jamaicans swear by Puma. Usain Bolt wears Puma, so I'm
Yeah.
locked into Puma. So
There you go.
yeah,
So
that's it.
we'll draw a line, but either or. What's that go-to item, the staple piece you have to have that completes your outfit?
Staple piece for me, it's all about tunnels in the ears, because
Okay.
that's what says that you're either like a creative or not a creative. It's all about having some type of accessory near your face, and so
Got you.
that's
Got
my
you.
go-to piece. I don't leave home without tunnels
There you go. There you
or an
go.
earring.
I know you're gonna say IG Reels versus TikTok.
Oh, IG Reels.
Yeah.
Only because with the whole Vine situation, Vine came and went. So
Yeah.
TikTok might come and go, just like how they all did.
Man, the Mark Zuckerberg got too much money, man. He got too much money, too much power for IG not to eventually win out. Like, that's just what it's gonna be. What's on the horizon with social media, man? What do you see next? Obviously, IG Reels is new. That might be the thing. What's the thing that you think is gonna be that take us to the next level?
Oh, that's gonna be interesting. I mean, Twitch is already there. Live stream gaming, esports, it's already huge,
Do
but
you
that's
still
gonna
do
be
that? Do you
way
still do
bigger.
gaming?
Oh no, I don't do it. I don't do it at all. Like
Okay.
0%. But
Okay.
I'll watch an anime every now and then just to
Yeah.
like nerd out for a bit. But
Yeah.
yeah, esports, it's gonna be way bigger than it was 2 years ago, because like, what are we gonna do now? COVID, can't go out to games. We're gonna play them. So
Got you.
yeah, it's gonna be real
Man,
big.
that makes sense. That
Man.
makes sense, man. Well, man, I appreciate you. Thank you for dropping so many jewels. The hardest thing when I go back to these
Yeah.
conversations, that's when I'm behind. I'll be like, yo, what am I gonna edit out? What am I gonna pull out? Da 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 da. But I appreciate you. Let the people know where to find you, what's going on next. Plug away, and yeah, whatever else you want to leave them with.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you reaching out and like doing this. We were way overdue. And so
Definitely.
you guys can find me at September Mondays on Instagram, and go ahead and shoot me a DM if you want to work with Polish Agency, then because that would be really awesome. The other thing is I'm launching my own clothing line. And so
Okay.
that's gonna be, that
There
we
you
kept on
go.
the low for a while. But like as an influencer, you gotta be able to come out with your own products and take control of it too.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
a jewel there too. And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so
Nah, when you
September,
come up with product, because
yeah,
that's, I mean,
that's
you
another thing
gain
in
the
itself.
influence to have your own products.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
You that's it.
that's really the bag if you can do that.
Yeah.
Because then you ain't
So
got to get a percentage. You are the percentage.
oh yeah, and then you could just cut it with somebody else and then let them do all the back end stuff. Now
Exactly.
you're just a talent, son.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
but,
what it is. So,
but
so
yeah.
you okay? So you have a line coming out.
September 21st.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Timber. Oh,
September
it's coming
21st.
out. It's coming out in a few weeks.
Yeah, coming out in a few weeks. And so you guys can expect that to drop. That's going to be
Oh
first. We're
man, you
starting
gotta
off
tell me
with a
more,
basic
man. What is it
collection.
going to include? Ideas? Is it a
Yeah.
capsule collection? What are we looking at? Well, what do we? What should we expect? Or
Oh,
can't you even say it yet?
yeah. Now I can say it. For now, we're starting off with like basic stuff: hoodie, jogger set, sweatshirt,
Okay.
jogger set, and a couple of bomber jackets. But
Okay.
then we'll just be adding more to there. So more collections afterwards.
There you
So,
go, man. I know it's
yeah,
gonna be
keep an eye out.
fire, man. Man, I appreciate you. I look forward to it. Your birthday, September 21st. The brand is gonna be called September Mondays.
Rude Mondays.
Real Mondays.
Yeah, there we
Okay.
go. Mm-hmm.
Okay. There you go. You okay? Okay. You know, I think about Real with the H. That's
Hey,
gonna be fire, man.
yeah.
Yeah, I look forward
Mm-hmm.
to it, man. Thank you again.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, we'll have to be in touch for sure, for sure. And yeah, just stay healthy, stay blessed, and I'm looking forward to the drop.
Yeah, you already know. Let's link up when you come back.
All right, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, bro.
Yeah.
All right, peace.